What's up, Pinky Boy here with 20 Valheim building tips and tricks for you. Some of these tips are pretty basic, others you would need to experiment for a few hours before figuring them out by yourself. So of course, if you're stoked that I just saved you a few hours, thumbs up this video, and if you have some tips of your own, please share them in the comments section below. And let's get right into it with tip number 1. This one is super basic, but a lot of you were actually wondering this: how do you build? To build, you need to craft a hammer from the crafting menu. Then with the hammer in hand, right click and place a workbench. Around the workbench there is a circle. That is the zone in which you can build. Right click again with your hammer in your hand and place whatever you want. You can place things outside the circle as long as you are in the circle when you place the item. And just keep placing more workbenches to expand the limits of your base. Tip number 2. While we have our workbench right here, you can use it to repair your tools and craft other items, but to do so it needs to be sheltered. You do not need a full base to shelter your workbench. And anyways, you will most likely have your first workbench outside until you finish your base, and then you will move the workbench inside. All you need to do to move the workbench is have your hammer in hand and middle mouse click to destroy the workbench. It will drop all of the materials. Just pick them up and go build your new bench again inside your base. Alright, so to shelter your workbench, start by placing a wall on either side, then place 2 thatched roofs. Usually this does a trick, but depending on where you place the workbench, you might need a bit more. If it says too exposed, simply add walls behind and you will be good to go. Tip number 3. So like we said, to destroy stuff, middle mouse click with your hammer in hand. You do need to be in a workbench's zone for this to work. So do not destroy your workbench first. You can also use this to quickly destroy generated buildings. At some point, you will be able to craft the gardening hoe. This tool is used for terraforming. With the hoe in hand, right click, level ground will raise or lower the ground where the circle is to the level of the ground you are standing on. As an example, here you see the circle is above the ground because the ground will be raised. Here the circle is below the ground because the ground will be lowered. Raised ground will, well, raise the ground at the cost of some stones. Pattern will remove grass and tree saps. You can use this to create paths to your favorite location so you don't always have to check your map. Use this also if you do not want grass blades to clip through your floors. Tip number 5. After defeating the first boss, Eikthyr, you will get a pickaxe. Of course, you can mine stone nodes with this, but you can also dig basements for your bases, canals to have access to the sea from your inland bases, or simply for defense purposes around your base. You cannot dig tunnels in Valheim, so to make a canal, dig straight down to the desired depth, then dig forward. This will mine the entire depth in one go. Tip number 6. Fires make smoke, and smoke will fill up your base if it cannot escape. And not only will you not see anything inside your base, but you will also go bye-bye if you inhale the smoke. So you need vents in your base for smoke to extract. I made a few examples here to give you some ideas. Simple holes will do the trick, but you can get fancy and creative and create things like chimneys or raised rooftops, which is what I use. But do know that you need a roof above your fire to protect it from rain. Speaking of fireplaces, here is tip 7, 8, 9, and 10. You can't place a fire on floor, but you can place a floor after you've placed a fire, which makes absolute sense. You can place 3 cooking stations above a fireplace for cooking. To cook, simply have raw meat in your inventory, click cook on the station, wait until you hear and click again to gather the cooked food. If you let it sit for too long, it will turn into coal, which, by the way, is an easy way to get coal. Fires need wood. They last a while, but they do need to be refilled with wood sometimes. You can craft fire pits like this if you feel fancy. I personally think they look cool, and it prevents your squaddies from running into your fires. Tip 11. Mobs will attack and raid your base. Keep your eyes and ears open. They make quite a ruckus when they attack your stuff. There is structure integrity in Valheim. Your blocks can go from blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. At red, the pieces will crumble. You can add beams and make sure your blocks are properly connected to prevent structural fail, but I'll keep that for another video. For now, just know that structural integrity is a thing and you can check it by having the hammer in hand. Tip 13. You can use floors to create shelvings for chests. Simply place the chest, then place a small floor just above it, then you can put a chest on that floor. Use this to create ergonomic storage for your bases. Tip number 14. Some building blocks will take damage from weather if they do not have a roof tile above them. After a while they will look patinaed and will start to decay until destroyed. Make sure things have a roof above them to prevent decay. You can repair anything that has decayed with the hammer. Simply right click with the hammer in hand and select repair. If you build your base close to the Forsaken stones, that's where you get dropped at first, you can press enter and do reset spawn. This will set your default spawn to the stones. Then if you venture really far from your base, you can make a bed out there, and if you die, you will spawn out there. When you're done adventuring and are halfway back to your base, simply reset your spawn to the stones. Tip number 16. You need to claim or reset your bed before being able to spawn from it. Tip 17. In your base you have comfort levels. If you are at comfort level 4 and do not know how to get level 5, a deer rug is probably what you need. Fires will give comfort for 3 tiles in each direction. Make sure you have enough in your base to give max comfort everywhere. Same goes for beds and deer rugs. Tip number 19. To upgrade your workbench, you need to build improvements near it. Each improvement will add 1 level. They will have sparks between them to show that they are close enough when placing them. Improvements have stars next to them in the crafting menu. And finally, tip 20. Who says building also says gathering. When gathering wood, cut down a bunch of trees at the same time. Falling trees will damage other trees. If you're lucky, they might even chop down other trees for you. They might even fall on logs and chop them into wood for you. When chopping logs or trees, keep in mind that the axe will damage anything it touches during the swing. This means that if you angle yourself right, you can chop multiple trees or logs at the same time. And a quick bonus tip for you creative builders out there: when placing blocks, if you hit shift while placing, this will remove the clipping points, meaning you will be able to place the block however you want. And there you have it, 20 building tips and tricks to get you started in Valheim. If you've enjoyed this video and like to see more, please take the time to subscribe, like this video, comment below and share. Also, do not forget to look in the pinned comment for a link to my Discord. Again, thanks for watching, thanks for your support, and I will see you in the next one.